Now what are you thinking?
Wasn't like the flag.
Are you concerned now, like, where do they go from here to find a superintendent?
I mean, it's family first. There's already been months of chaos and awful that already. So is concerning, but they did get more. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. They did more. Hopefully, what will happen is they will include administration in the interview process. They will include every school board member, smaller communities.
Is there anything you want to say on that topic? But I mean, I know there's some other topics too that we could talk about.
I mean, I think that it's important that the rotary board that they work with there should not be a hatchet. Not everything is hard decisions, but they still want to students for a country this district. It's a top priority. Every decision around students, what the district's mission is, and setting for that. That is where we should be operating and making all decisions.
Thank you very much. You're from Scott Township, right? Thank you.
Present.
For the Chartiers Valley School District. I also want to thank everybody for coming out. I think this is the largest crowd we've had for a while. I know that everybody has been talking and waiting for an announcement. At this point, Mr. Martell has withdrawn his name and considering Mr. Martell. we are not hiring a superintendent. And so you are going to hear a motion coming up to remove that item from the agenda. We'll see if it is passed. If it is passed, and those items are removed from the agenda, if you signed up for public comment at the beginning of the meeting, that public comment, as you know, is only on agenda items. So if Mr. Martell was taken off the if we could have order in this room. If the board takes Mr. Martell off of the agenda,
Which is 2.0.
it will no longer be on there to comment at the beginning of the meeting. So I'm going to give over control to Dr. Mariano, our board president, to currently run the meeting.
So I'd like to make a motion to amend
If we can have order, please.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to amend and remove items 2.1 and 2.2 from the agenda. So moved. Motion made by Mr. Montani. May I have a second? Second by Mrs. Snee. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes.
So you stifled us as usual. 2.0. 2.0.
We'd like to invite any resident or taxpayer of the CVSD who wishes to address the board to please sign in and state your name and address when you approach the board. We appreciate your interest. Please keep your comments to 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you. Courtney, did anyone sign up to speak on the current agenda items?
Yes. First up is, if I could just go over at this point, since we have a lot of people in attendance. Policy 903 is our policy that governs public participation in meetings. So we invite the public to attend these meetings, but the public only has the right to participate. Policy 903 establishes the guidelines for public participation with the goal of providing a fair and orderly expression of public comment. All individuals wishing to participate in a public board meeting shall register their intent with the board secretary in advance of the meeting and shall include the name and address of the participant, topic to be addressed, and group affiliation if applicable. No participant can speak twice on the same topic unless all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. Speakers may not exceed 3 minutes. We will be implementing the 3 minutes strictly. You'll see a timer up in front of me that will tick down the 3 minutes for you. All statements are to be directed to the presiding officer, and no participant may address or question board members individually. The board will let you speak, but the board president or I may interrupt or terminate a participant's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. Request any individual to leave this meeting when that person does not observe reasonable decorum. Request the assistance of law enforcement to remove a disorderly person when the person's conduct interferes with the orderly progress of the meeting. Or call a recess or adjourn to another time when the lack of public decorum interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. A speaker is certainly allowed to strongly disagree with proposed actions, but under no circumstances may a speaker attack or question the motives of another person. Speakers should confine their remarks to current matters before the board or commission, and unless the attention of the body is being directed to new matters not previously acted upon. Non-members of the board are present as guests of the body and should conduct themselves as such. During the meeting as guests, they are not to disturb the meeting by talking, whispering, walking across the board. These rules are designed to preserve and protect the ability of the board or commission to perform its function in a civil and orderly manner. Now, These comments at the beginning of the meeting are on agenda items. The superintendent hiring is no longer on the agenda. So if you were signed up, if you wanted to speak about the superintendent, that item is no longer on the agenda to speak about.
The long skinny one.
I'm sorry, this is not an agenda item.
2.0.
No, 2.0 was removed from the agenda.
No, it wasn't.
2.1 and 2.2 were.
You've taken away teachers' rights to speak at board meetings. You've turned off public comments on social media. You ignore the police and the community who come to you with concerns. And tonight you plan to take a vote despite public outrage. The fact that you've asked for police presence proves that you knew the decision was wildly unpopular. School boards are meant to listen to and represent the community's voice in public education. But you are not listening.
Good job, Leland. We love you.
You must think we are stupid. This is not the first time
Are you here to speak on an agenda item?
I'm getting to this. This is not the first time an item has been placed on the agenda that was voted on before the meeting and removed. We were still allowed to make our comments. We were still allowed to adjust what we needed to say and to speak without being told that no, we as the parents of the students in the school have no say. When you go to discuss the budget, please bear in mind that you were willing to bring in someone with a 12% increase in salary. Please go look at the anatomically correct cult of saying at our saying. And then please remember that these were funds that could have been better spent elsewhere within this district. It could have been put towards keeping teachers in our classrooms that our students desperately need. Cronyism has zero place in this district. As to average middle school or high school, what that word means, and I guarantee you, 90% of them could not tell you without looking it up. For shame. You all represent us. We are here on behalf of our children. These are our tax dollars. You are frivolously spending. You know better. And you should be ashamed. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Christy Bethel. I live at 143 Friendly Drive in Tallers Township. I am a business
personnel issues that we're having that are being looked at in the primary schools. My son is in a first grade classroom where children are removed from that classroom to remain safe, as other students who are enrolled in that classroom are no longer, are not properly supported. The teachers are not properly supported in this district, and we should be talking about that. Get them the help that they need. These teachers need more teachers to address emotional and behavioral needs in our community. Not one learning support teacher to cover it up. Learning support, autistic support, emotional support. Life skills are not the same thing, and cutting these positions, including the MTSS positions, are failing our overcrowded population. This month alone, we discussed removing the remedial staff, and administration has eliminated the kindergarten assessments held at the end of the year. Those are vital to developing the kindergarten classroom. These tests at the end of the year occur so that students are spread evenly among the classrooms, and most importantly, those with significant needs are identified early, and procedures and plans can be utilized for helping them. As a former kindergarten teacher, I knew it was 10 years ago now, so I'm sure it's way more advanced. I have sat down at those assessments in the spring and realized that someone could not speak, could not read, and we were able to address those things immediately in a timely manner for 3 months before school began. At no other grade are teachers completely blindsided by those who will walk in the door. Our teachers want to be in a district that does better. You can see that they're all here tonight. No one wants to take leaps backwards, and they work hard to help our students, and they impact our students, and they deserve so much more support from all of us. So please think about the powerful impact these small decisions on staffing have on our incoming students, and reinstate the time and finances for these types of assessments in their schedule. Thank you.
Thank you for taking my comments. My name is Denise O'Neill. I live on River Street in Louisville. I was at the meeting in March. That was in Parkway. So I basically have several follow-up questions. And I see on the agenda that point 6.15 talks about the stadium. So that is what my questions were about. There were several things that have to be done on the field, including concrete, curb, where the traffic shouldn't be there. And also, we have to do other things, the contractors and data to follow the agenda of the architect. So how much is it now going to cost to hire a new contractor, and how much tax money are we going to have to put out for that? That's my first question.
If you want to keep going,
My second question is, evidently it's going to cost more than $3 million to fix the intermediate school roof. There was a discussion about a $5 million grant. Has that been approved? My third question, and most concerning to me, is I worked in a Catholic school myself for a very long time. For me to even participate in a fish fry, I had to go through the most bullying and ridiculous. I had to watch horrible videos, had to do appearances, and all that stuff. And everybody fingerprint say no more than 15%, 15 minutes, and yes, there was a woman who was here in March at Parkway who was discussing the fact that there were school board members who were entering the facility without any type of accompaniment, and they did not have clearances. You said you were going to create a new bylaw, which is evidently probably part of 6.23. However, what we have stuff in your bylaws that governs that. When my children were in school, for me to get my children out to get their braces, I had to check in with the high school. I had to say I was there. I had to go to the front door. I had to show my photo ID.
And when you do find out, if you can go ahead, you only have 3 minutes, if you can go ahead and make that change, then we should still be able to comment in, because there are other items. We're still publicly trying to find a superintendent. We have a voice, we have opinions, we have voice as well. We are the community that keeps you in those shit. But anyways, as I really want to talk about is for agenda item 6.23. I believe it is the best interest in the safety of our students to strike the words unless otherwise identified by the superintendent in line item number 4 of the proposed administrative regulation for board policy 002. And the reason why, because if our board could this close come to hiring someone, probably based on friendship and due to cronyism, like how do we know that this board, as well as future boards, can't easily just say, that guy's my friend, he's cool, he doesn't need to be assisted through our schools unintentionally. And that says, for those who don't know, it does say that for the board members to attend our schools, as long as they have their clearances or that they are to be assisted in with, I believe it says a district employee or some of the administrative staff, unless otherwise identified by the superintendent. We cannot guarantee that your votes, that this board is not playing favoritism. We cannot guarantee that our superintendents are going to be the proper person that is going to represent our district, our community, our morals, our values. So this should not be up to one person to allow with another person on our board just walk in. Because we know people are voted into your position just because they know the name. There are people on this board who have been here longer than I can alive. So people are voting. I'm 21 years old. I remember the idea that had changed since 1982 and now it's remarkable. And to have these same people in there with their ideals, are they changing? Are they thinking about our aspirations? Are they thinking about our mission statement? We don't know, because people just vote blindly. They're not part of the school. Anyone can vote in the district. And so again, I suggest striking that from that.
Charlotte Bell, I live at 148 Franklin Road, I did what I was going to talk about, is really applicable to every agenda item here. I've lived in Collier North all my life, so you guys know it for a long time. My husband and I are both graduates from Chartiers Valley. I just want to talk about schools. When I graduated from college, I chose to substitute in Chartiers Valley School District as much as I could, in the hopes of getting a teaching position here. When I was offered a position in 2 other districts that paid more money that time, I chose Chartiers Valley. When my husband and I started our family, we chose the village in this district because of the experiences we have. We chose this district because we know the individuals who work here and the teachers who would be an important part of shaping our children's lives every single classroom. My family has made a lot of choices in support of Chartiers Valley because we believe this is a place that supports academic, social, and emotional growth and will support our children. When my children were newborns and toddlers, I chose to bring them with me for hours on end to do school purposes, and I knew this was going to help other students create memories for years. My children at the age of 9 and 12 now choose, sometimes beg, to attend all those purposes. One of them is still sitting there, drawing. This is what Chartiers Valley is. It's a place where kids find themselves and they learn to make good choices. I'm asking that you just simply start to make good choices, like we expect our children and students and expect them to do in the future. Thank you.
Emily Marco.
Yeah.
All right, moving on, so 43 Clearview Drive, Township. So I was focused on 6.23, which is the administrative regulation for policy 002, which is our where we're going to go, and they can go where they need. Here's the thing. Administration, not board members, administrators. That's their role, and they should be able to make the decision and set up when all of you can go visit these schools. This is not like a third place, second home for all of you. There are, I don't know off the top of my head, but there are at least two policy points in your procedure and policy for the board that basically negates anything on this policy 002 that would have even allowed us to go into the schools. So I oppose, as you know, I'm going to say again, I oppose any board member just walking up and going into the school, having a key card. There is no need for a person whose sole responsibility is to vote and make decisions at that table for them to go into a school building. I don't want you near my child, because frankly, I don't talk after you. So I know that you put a lot of time into writing policy 002, kind of just put force into it, because I'm pretty sure that the people that wrote it actually didn't want board members to be in the schools and have access to the schools. Yes, if there's a particular topic that you all need to get more information on, for your presentation, or whatever it is, sure, go in. When it's coordinated and people are made aware ahead of time, and definitely you are all escorted by a person that we trust, which would be our administrators or our principals or teachers. Here are a few statistics
my original speech was an agenda item, so I don't want to talk about it, but I just want you all to make sure that Mr. Martell is not on the candidacy list. He will not be superintendent. You're guaranteed this. You can say this, but.
I can guarantee it's not on the.
Okay, a couple meetings ago, you guys all went and said it's that, and that doesn't happen.
But we do have to stick to the agenda items, okay?
Okay, and I just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
She's talking about 6.22. It's the budget.
That's not on the agenda this evening.
6.22.
Let us sacrifice for the future, for the sake of personal connections and
My name is Ryan Energy, and I live at 33 Yankee Drive here in Scott. Thank you for your time, school board members, student representatives, administrators, and the highest paid taxpayer related time here in Pennsylvania and the City Hall. I have a couple of comments for requests. First off, I would like to commend Ms. Conley on her participation in the trip article about tax-based challenges most of Allegheny County school districts are currently facing. It was enlightening to see that our budget struggles are not just a CD issue, but a whole Allegheny County issue. My takeaway from the article was that our current financial issues were not the result of mismanagement by our previous school board members, so I want to publicly thank them for their past service. Secondly, I request an executive summary to be released to the public from Mr. Templeton, our taxpayer-funded search consultant, on his recommendations for the superintendent vacancy. I believe taxpayers, since they ultimately sign his paycheck, have a right to see his recommendations. I also believe future customers of this consultancy would love to know whether the recommendation we seek for ourselves tonight was the best we could offer, or whether it was offered at all. As for administration regulations for policy 002, if you had led with your draft policy from the start, it would not have been an issue. Finally, as Taylor and Dora reminded us, haters hate and swipers swipe. Looking at the color history of the previous school board recommended nominee, each yes vote for this candidate is your personal stamp of approval of their past behavior and your personal guarantee to the members of this community regarding their future behavior. The attendance and the comments at this meeting mean that none of you can hide behind ignorance or plausible deniability. Therefore, should swipers swipe in the future, these proceedings will be used as a basis for a negligence of duty recall petition for every member who
Can't hear the speakers. Good.
7 Shady Knoll Drive? Okay. Well, we're all here again. It seems like we've been showing up at board meetings a lot in the past year, and that's not a good thing. So I'm not going to talk about the thing I'm not allowed to talk about, that we're all here for, but we all know what I probably would be saying about that. So instead, let's talk about personnel, which was an issue last month and has not been resolved. So a few people have already mentioned this, but they're trying to cut the reading support teachers at the elementary level. This is literally the worst decision. I'm a teacher myself. I have a reading specialist master's degree, so I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about. And remediation is most effective when students are young. That means specifically before the 4th grade level, when students are starting to read in order to learn. So they need the help at the primary school. My daughter is in 1st grade and she is getting reading help, and she has a mom who knows what she's talking about. Imagine those kids that don't have that support in their life. Those are the kids that need it, and the teachers are here tonight showing that they care. We are asking the board to also show that they care about these students, because the teachers are doing all that they can, but the teachers need more help. So I'm asking you to think about personnel and also budget, because I see 6.11 payments, including charter schools. Do we really want to not meet student needs? Because students actually have a choice. They could attend a charter school, and that would literally bankrupt CV if all the students who are not getting their needs met leave CV, and CV has to foot the bill for those students. So I'm asking you, the board, to start making the best decisions for the students, and that includes choosing the best candidate for superintendent who actually has teaching experience. Any teacher will tell you that the best administrator is never too far removed from the classroom. So a superintendent needs teaching experience and integrity. So please keep that in mind. Thank you.
But that is the purpose. It's what we exist to do. It's what you exist to do. The board is a governing body. It's not an operating body. And Ms. Hall, I ask that you routinely remind the school board of what the difference is between a governing body and an operating body. Because school district leaders typically come in without having a whole lot of knowledge around what a school board is, it takes some time for that learning to take place. So reminders of what a governing body is and the duties associated with the governing body, of the duty of care and the duty of loyalty, bear repeating frequently. So I ask you to be vigilant on that. You have decision-making authority that covers two things, really, fundamentally. Who the superintendent is going to be and how you spend our dollars. Let me go back to my original point. We don't spend enough time talking about academics. As it relates to policy 002, I don't understand why it exists. So let's go back. Your power comes from you as 9. None of you has a decoder ring. Not one person. The only power you have is when the 9 of you decide to do something. You do not operate the district. So I don't understand why you need to be in the school. A long time ago, school board members walked openly, without any checks, and challenged administrators and teachers, and it was a disaster. The gap that exists between having a little access to taking a lot of access is very small, and we've seen this movie before. So in my opinion, unless and until you have official board-sanctioned business where you are in a building as a parent, there is no reason for policy 002. It doesn't need to exist.
Okay. So we have a motion to add to the agenda the board meeting minutes for April 9th, 2024, and April 23rd, 2024, to the May 28th, 2024 legislative board meeting. Well, there's no recognition, no superintendent reports, no solicitors. I mean, I just wasn't aware. Yeah. Motion made by Mr. Tora. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Heen. Any discussion on these items? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda the middle school student council travel and dance troop request for the May 28th, 2024 legislative board meeting? Motion made by Mr. Montani. May I have a second? Second by Mr. Chura. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to approve the human resources report for May 14th, 2024? Motion made by Ms. King. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Drury. Any discussion on these items? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. Motion to adopt resolution 2023-2024-001, placing employee number 3663 on unpaid leave as of May 15th, 2024, and adopting a formal statement of charges. Motion made by Ms. King, second by Mr. Montani. Any discussion on these items? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? No. The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda the primary school PTG facilities modification request for the May 28th, 2024 legislative board meeting? Motion made by Mr. Montani, second by Mrs. Trainer. Any discussion on these items? If you looked at some of the pictures, it really is going to turn out well. I talked to the principal, and if you notice, they're doing a portion of it. They're not doing like the wainscoting portion. I actually asked, why isn't the school district paying for this versus the PTG? And I wouldn't necessarily think that PTG should spend their money on this, but I really didn't get an answer. But I think this is improving the school, so the school district should do it, and the PTG should help the things that the kids need. But I just think this needs to come more to the board before we go down the road. They should have to spend this money. But all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda the donation of $200 to the Intermediate School Library on behalf of Karen Krasinski and in memory of Janice Murray, who was a teacher in the Chartiers Valley School District for many years, for the May 28th, 2024 legislative board meeting. Motion made by Mr. Martin. May I have a second? Second by Mr. Trainer. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda the acceptance of the award food service equipment grant in the amount of $38,716 for the purchase of a gas conveyor pizza oven for the high school for the May 28th, 2024 legislative board meeting? Motion by Ms. Heen, second by Mr. Truer. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda the 2024-2025 agreement to sell meals to the AIU Head Start, the AIU 3 Comprehensive Service Agreement, and Waterfront Learning Service Agreement for the May 28, 2024 legislative board. Motion made by Ms. Heen and second by Mr. Truer. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda the 2024-2025 IU1 Education Service Agreement for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting? Motion made by Mr. Montani. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Heen. Any discussion on these items? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda the 2024-2025 proposed administrative budget of the South Central Area Special Schools Jointure for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting? This is the Pathfinder School for anybody that's not familiar. Motion made by Mr. Montani, second by Mr. Truer. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda payments including charter schools in the amount of $6,462,284.06 for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting? Motion made by Ms. Heen. May I have a second? Second by Mr. Montani. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda the May 2024 construction payment report for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting? So motion made by Ms. Heen, and a second by Mr. Truer. Any discussion on this item?
Yeah, is it possible to get a breakdown of, although this says athletics exterior, it doesn't say what about the exterior or what about the interior. Is it possible to have a breakdown on what those things were exactly before the next meeting? I mean, I see the little, I mean, I guess it is. Yeah, I guess it is, yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, we asked Pat when we had all those problems to start breaking that out.
Okay, I see them, I just wasn't connected. All right, thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, all in favor? Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda COSAC, Spec, Metzel, and Wood LLP to conduct auditing services for the 2023-2024 school year at $27,000 and 2024-2025 at $27,800 and 2025-2026 at $28,600 and a one-year option to extend at $29,500 for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting. Motion made by Ms. Heen. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Trainer. Any discussion on this item? I'm thankful for Pat for looking all this up because the previous auditors more or less lowballed us and doubled the fees. So thanks, Mrs. Conlon. All in favor? approval for pen fencing to remove and install a fence at the intermediate school and add slats to the home bleacher fence at the high school stadium in the amount of $9,000 for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting. Motion made by Ms. Heaney, may I have a second? Second by Ms. Sexton. Any discussion on this item? The fence is all along there. If you notice, the fence is falling down, so it needs fixed. As a lot of stuff around here needs fixed. But that's the first part. The second part, the slats at the high school is to finish what was started by the previous contract. So that's what it is.
So it's the privacy portion.
Yeah, the privacy portion, all the way around the outside. That's right. And when you go into the bathroom area right now, you'll see that's the only portion that they did. But then it needs to go around the entire part of that home side. And there's the next part is the concrete floor, just so I talk about that. When they built that stadium and they put that room or that building underneath with the broken window, the floor is wood, it was all rotten. So the next 6.15 will address that by making it concrete.
Thank you.
So that way it will be used for storing athletic equipment from the field, and it won't get wet as it has in the past.
Can I ask a question?
Sir?
Are they, I noticed, I think you did too, when we were walking around that one on the visitor side, that, I don't know how in the world someone bent it, but are they able to fix that or look at that, or did that whole thing have to be replaced?
What do you think?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll be a whole other line. We'll have to fix that fence, which is all forever.
Thank you.
I mean, a lot of things can be fixed like that. And a lot of things can be fixed ever to design. So. Okay, all in favor? Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda Scala Concrete to provide a concrete floor in the building underneath the high school bleachers in the amount of $7,350 for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting. Motion made by Ms. Heaney. May I have a second? Second by Mrs. Sexton. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. Now this has been needed for 20 years. May I have a motion to add to the agenda Scala Concrete to provide concrete work at the two catch basins at the bottom of the primary school driveway so you don't bottom out your car, and the rear entry to the school bus parking lot in the amount of $6,400 for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting. Motion made by Mr. Truro. May I have a second? Second by Mr. Montana. Sorry, I didn't hear you. Any discussion on this item?
Just I don't know if we clarify where that money is coming from and explain the difference so everybody understands.
So that money is coming from capital reserve, which is separate from the bond issue that was from or taken out for the stadium project for the interior gym.
Yeah, so the previous one is coming from the bond that we already have.
Yes.
And then these two that are not related to that bond are coming from capital.
Yes, capital reserve you can use in all 4 buildings. For the bond, we specified that it should be used for the high school campus.
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda Scala Concrete to provide concrete work at the high school 2445 to the curb in the amount of $4,000 for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting. Motion made by Mrs. Sexton. May I have a second? Second by Ms. King. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda Industrial Electrical Corporation to provide electrical services to provide lighting underneath the high school stadium bleachers and to run an electrical line to the press box area in the amount of $2,840 for the May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. King, second by Ms. Ventura. Any discussion on this item? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to add to the agenda Team Turf to provide licensed weed control to the school campuses and the intermediate school playing fields in the amount of $4,821 for May 28, 2024 legislative board meeting. Motion made by Mr. Montani. May I have a second? Second by Ms. King. Any discussion on this item? That I don't know. I know the vendor is licensed, and soon some of our people will be licensed. But this will happen over a period of time to remove the dandelions and everything else that's from. Oh, Pat. Okay. Ms. Conley.
I don't know the specific herbicide, it's a herbicide on pesticide, and, they're gonna be doing it on the weekends.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. May I have a motion to approve Salem Landscape Incorporated to provide debris removal, landscaping and mulching to the areas of middle school and high school in the amount of $9,000. So this is an approval. Okay, this isn't to move it. So I need a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Mrs. Trainer. May I have a second? Second by Ms. Heen. Any discussion? No. This is going to be done for graduation. So we don't have enough people, obviously, in many areas. But to get them help, to bring people in, or to clean up the area so they can actually maintain it, and then mulch the area, especially that hillside that is a disaster. This is what that will do before graduation.
I have a quick question. I don't know if this relates to this or not, but it might. I had a couple people ask me about when you're exiting the high school campus, people are having trouble looking both ways.
In a car, you have trouble. They did, if you notice, if you go there, they did cut it down, and that hasn't been cut down in a long time. That detention pond on the left-hand side. The problem is the height of the walls of the detention pond can't be cut down, because I've asked to have. Because if you're in a car and you're looking left, you can't see it. But if you're in an SUV, there's no problem. So I don't know the solution to that, but it's a big problem. You have to raise the road. It's pretty soft. That's a good idea.
I have a question. Is this, like, I had a couple people reach out about a smell there was some windows open and there was some mulching they thought being done. Is this the mulching that was?
No, this hasn't been done. This is why this is approved, to get this, or a motion to approve it.
Right, because no, people, like, we had talked about that with like coaches and things, right? No one should be like doing things before it's officially approved, right?
You're right.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yeah, nobody has done any of these things, but this particular one is a motion to approve it so it gets done before graduation. Because if we didn't approve it until May 28th, they would have to do it within a week, less than a week. You see what I mean? All in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. We have a motion to approve a resolution 2024-001 to restructure the district's current outstanding general obligation bonds, Series A of 2015, and general obligation bond Series B of 2015, and a possible new money borrowing retaining Piper, Sandler and Company as investment bankers and Dinsmore and Soul LLP as bond counsel. Motion made by Ms. Heaton, second by Mr. Turin. Any discussion on this item?
This was a presentation made last year, if you want to see it.
Yes, are you going to go through your presentation?
I'm happy to go through it. It's the same presentation as last 2 weeks ago. I have backed out the expense that we will save on the bond. So our deficit is now 1.9 million. That's really the main thing that was moving around.
Okay.
But I can do the presentation if you'd like, Dr. Marinhouse.
I mean, there's a lot of people here, probably be a good idea to go through it.
Okay, we'll run through it. Okay, so tonight the school board will vote as required on the 24-25 preliminary final budget. The final budget vote. I think someone's like. The final vote will be on June 11th. The mission of Chartiers Valley School District is a community dedicated to shared leadership, to graduate students to achieve personal success by providing an exceptional academic foundation in a safe, nurturing environment that inspires creativity and innovation while embracing diversity. Our vision statement is we will inspire excellence in instruction, learning, and innovation, and prepare our students to achieve personal success. Our shared values are the 7 that we have here, and the mission of finance and operations department is finance and operations supports the achievement of the school district's missions, goals, and objectives by providing the necessary services and information for sound decision-making and management of our district. Tonight, we'll review a district data and financial recap. The scope of our school district is very, very broad. Our 23-24 budget was $76.5 million. We have 15 curricular areas, 3,500 students, 22 sports in high school and middle school. We issued 645 W-2s, so employees that are on our payroll. We have 19 budget managers, which consist of principals and department heads, 4 buildings, 1 bus garage, 55 clubs and activities, federal programs, athletic fields at the stadium, Woodville, and the Webb Field in Collier, 68 school buses, 500 vehicles, and we also outsource to 2 contractors for transportation. Our food service operation is $1.9 million, and 30 employees support those operations every day. Our general fund balance as of June 30th, 2022 was $6.792260. It did go up at the end of June 30, 2023 to $7,116,095. Only $5 million of that is unassigned, so that is our liquid savings that we can use for emergencies and to support our district. The other pots within that fund balance is committed or we cannot spend it.
We also have debt stabilization and capital reserves. Our debt stabilization fund as of June 30th was $3.3 million. We are projecting a $1.25 million deficit in 23-24. That will take that balance down to $2.1 million. Our capital reserve sits at $970. We will, by June 30th, spend $487,000 of that. So the capital reserve will be at $323,000. Oh, sorry. We're adding to capital reserve the balance from fund balance from the last audit. So it'll bring it up to 806. The 24-25 capital reserve budget is $487,000, and it's designated for capital leases, principal and interest for our buses, vans, and other district vehicles. Our fund balance is currently at 6%. It is recommended to have a fund balance of at least 5 to 8%. Our capital reserve is dangerously low for a district our size. Capital reserve is needed to maintain these buildings. We have to maintain our buildings. Unforeseen emergencies occur. Planned capital projects have to be planned for. We have to eventually replace buses and vans and capital equipment such as boilers, hot water, things like that. So I'm going to go over the 24-25 final preliminary budget, which the board will vote on tonight. We have many budget issues that we face. Inflation is at 3.4%. There's a limitation on millage. The 24-25 Act 1 index for Chartiers Valley is 5.3%. Our state budget, we have budgeted flat funding as well as special education. We have a split House and Senate. We're not sure what the governor's budget, where things will land. Our healthcare increase was 9%, dental was 5%, vision 3%. Supplies are increasing at 10 to 15%. We have obligated licenses for software and contracted services. Those increases are between 5 and 10%. Special education continues to rise. Our EL populations continue to rise. And tuition costs for outplacements such as special ed, charter schools, and Parkway have all been accounted for. 66% of our teachers are at step 18. Step 18 is at $119,332 per year. We did offer an early retirement incentive. Early means those teachers may not have been super annuitized within PESERs. 5 did apply. We did not achieve that 25 that was needed, and it was not cost effective to follow through with it. Our committed expenses include debt service, the school infrastructure and utilities, technology, safety and security, self-operated transportation, our food service program. Our retirement cost to PESERs is 33.9% of every dollar. We have legal fees, insurance, and collective bargaining agreements that we must abide by. This is just a snapshot of where the money goes for the capital reserve budget. As you can see, it's all principal and interest towards our vehicles. The 24-25 proposed expenses are outlined here. 77% of our budget goes towards salary and benefits. The proposed expenses for 24-25 is $78,398,467. This is just another little breakdown of where the money goes in a pie chart. After all salaries and benefits, our debt service is paid, the overhead of our facilities and transportation department, and outside tuition, there's only 5.9% left to support all of the other things that are needed in our budget. This is a proposed departmental budget. As you can see, our deficit is still quite high, $1,957,635. Our revenues are relatively flat. We use historical revenue analysis to project local taxes. We're expecting flat funding for basic education and special education, transportation, and our Ready to Learn grant. There has been some extra funding for safety and mental health. We are also expecting flat funding for our federal money. 74% of the revenue for our budget comes from the local tax base. 72% is from real estate taxes. So there's still some unknown factors that will play in our final budget that's presented in June. There still could be some retirements. There will be a legislative approval of the governor's budget. We might see an increase in basic ed funding and special ed funding. We are currently in the middle of negotiations with a collective bargaining agreement, and the common level ratio revenue impact is still unknown. The common level ratio has had a severe impact on our revenue. As you can see in this chart, in 1920, the tax refunds to homeowners was only $19,000. To date, in 23-24, it's over $500,000, and we are projecting $700,000 in 24-25. Here's another snapshot of our revenue sources. The expenses are 79. The revenue is only 76, so we do have a shortfall of 1.9 million. This slide shows the compounding effect of a tax increase. If the school board raises taxes, less the CLR revenue that I mentioned of $700,000 that we won't be able to count on, it means $2,480,000 to our school district. That's what a tax increase means. And every year that compounds. We don't raise taxes this year, we don't get that money next year, or the year after, or the year after that. Over 7 years, it's $17.9 million. So this next slide just gives the board information about what could happen to our fund balance. If we do nothing else, do what we have now, do no further decreases and not raise taxes, there's a projected deficit of 1.9 million. Half of that will be taken from the general fund, half of it will be taken from the debt stabilization fund. And again, next year, these two funds will have lower balances. And then the projected deficit for the following year, now this is less the our revenue less the expenses through the bond refinance, we're looking at $5.6 million. We would then wipe out the general fund and debt stabilization fund, and we would have a depleted fund balance at negative $445. So our Act 1 resolution would increase, if the board would increase taxes, the max would be 5.3%. Our millage would go to 0.0212610. That again is a revenue increase of 2.4 million. This gives a sample of what a homeowner would pay if taxes would be raised. All the way from a homeowner with a home value of $130,000 to $500,000. The annual increase would be from $139 to $535 per year. In 23-24, Chartiers Valley had the 8th lowest millage in Allegheny County with 20.1909. This is our budget timeline. There will be a preliminary budget vote tonight. Our budget will be on public inspection in the lobby tomorrow through June 15th. There will be a final vote. I'm not sure if that's the right date. I think it's June 11th, not June 15th. And then we will submit everything to PDE by June 30th. Does the board have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Conlon. May I have a motion to approve the proposed final budget for the 2024-2025 school year in the amount of $78,398,467 with a real estate tax rate of 20.1909 mils, which represents no tax increase. The Secretary of the Board is hereby directed to make copies of such proposed budget available for public inspection in accordance with the requirements of the school code at least 20 days prior to the adoption of the budget. The Secretary is hereby further directed to give not less than 10 days notice to the public of a meeting at which the final budget shall be adopted. Such meeting is set for Tuesday, June 11th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. May I have a motion?
So maybe.
Motion made by Ms. Heen, second by Mr. Short. This is a roll call vote, so.
Mr. Rossi?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Reed? Ms. Heen? Yes. Mr. Monkenny?
No.
Mrs. Sexton? No. Mrs. Trainer?
No.
Dr. Marion?
Yes. And that's just, that's a preliminary, exactly. The final, motion will come on June 11th. May I have a motion to add to the agenda the administrative regulation for board policy 002 outlining board visitation of schools for the May 28th, 2024 legislative board meeting?
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Strainer, may I have a second? Second by Mrs. Sexton. Any discussion on this item?
Yes, and Francis, where are you? Like you to help me with the explanation of this. So Mrs. Eckenrode is exactly right. There is a policy that is already on the books that clearly states what we should and should not be doing. However, based on recent occurrences, we kind of felt that maybe there should be an alignment of all of our guests in terms of how they go through procedures to go into the buildings, which would then also encompass the board because we are guests in doing that. Can you explain what an administrative regulation is?
So, can everyone hear me? Yep. Yes, okay. An administrative regulation is, they are the procedures that align with a policy. So there can be administrative regulations for any one of our policies. So what this committee that formed a few board meetings ago did was looked at what the current policy is of 002, as well as aligned it to our visitation policy. And we also looked at policies of 4 surrounding districts, just to get a feel for what other districts are. And then we shared that with our solicitor as well to review. We came up with procedures for the board to review tonight of a draft of what those administrative regulations could be for the board visitations to schools. So that's what you see here in draft form of what that might look like for the board's feedback tonight.
So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but an administrative regulation is not a policy. So, does it need to be voted on?
It is not a policy, they are procedures. I will defer to Rebecca for that one.
So I do have this handled differently in different districts. There are some districts where the administrative regulations do come to the board for a vote and consideration. I have others where they do not, only the policies come before the board. I came to Chartiers Valley as the solicitor as of December 5th. And at this point, I don't think I have the past practice to cite to, since I have not been here that long. So I would defer to the board on what the past practice has been, or how the board would like to move forward on administrative regulations.
I just think that, given the issue, why wouldn't the board agree
or visitation of schools, which reads, when visiting the district schools or cafeterias, board members shall have no more authority than any other citizen of the school district. That's regardless of clearance. Okay? Even if I have my clearance, this I am bound by, except when so authorized to act on behalf of the board. So this AR is put there to make it very clear that this is the policy and these are the procedures that go along with that policy, so that we don't have people mistakenly or whatever roaming around through our schools when they shouldn't be. Because as Mrs. Eckenrose stated, there is a clear lane for that. Okay, so I just wanted to make that clear to everybody, why that was done.
All in favor? Anybody opposed? The motion passes. Courtney, did anyone sign up to speak on non-agenda items this evening?
Yes, sir. The first up is Ashley Burke.
Everyone would just remember to state their name and if they're a resident, a taxpayer, or state their address too.
Okay, Ashley Burke, I'm Spring, Scott Township. I first would just like to mention how I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't see our board members vote on Martell, because I do feel like that would let our community know how our board members' aspiration lines up with those of CB's. And I would also like to request in your search for a super to take Philip Martell as an example of who not to present. Any person with questionable morals, questionable values, who lacks reliability and dependability shouldn't even be considered for any position within our district. Additionally, there's no reason why a new superintendent shouldn't be someone who has not stepped in a classroom and worked in the classroom before. Martell, for example, using him as an example, has referenced his past districts as business and those students as products. And I just want to make it clear to our board that our students are not products of Chartiers Valley School District. If they're a product of anything, they are a product of their own personal success. And Chartiers Valley is not a business. It is a community that is dependent on, dedicated to shared leadership, in which its mission is to provide an exceptional academic foundation and a safe, nurturing environment that inspires creativity and innovation while embracing diversity. And you would all know this if you knew our mission statement, because that is what I just reiterated. And it makes me wonder if our board members know our mission statement. Do you know our vision statement? Can you repeat them verbatim? Are you familiar with our core 7, our core values? Are these decisions what are in the forefront of your mind while you're considering your vote on the important decisions? Is it something that you contemplate and think of and try to align with? Because you really should, because you are here for the district. You are not here for your personal gain, for your personal political agenda. This district is not a place of hiring your ground and employment for your unhireable friends. So I thought it would be helpful to take 2 pages from our website, turn them into poster form, frame them, and present them to our board so that you may use them as visuals to reflect on what CB truly stands for, and that while you're considering your vote on any decision, big or small, you can see that they're right there, they're present. Because everything that is presented, you've seen it in the budget, it's on our board. Our crest is posted in every building, on almost every media distribution. But do you know that every single item is symbolic of something that this community represents? And it doesn't seem like you do. So that's why I would like to present my board with these 2 documents for you to use at your leisure. So this is for you. And it, again, is our crest and everything, all the symbolism in which each item represents down to each color, as well as our mission statement, our vision statement, and our CV setup.
Chrissy Bengal, 143 Frenzy Drive, Collier Township. So the first thing I wanted to say was the quality of a school district has significant impact on the value of homes within the area. A strong school district correlates with higher property values because it attracts families seeking a quality education for their children. So those board members who are seeking votes concerned with tax increases, please think about that. While my children have loved their experience in kindergarten and 4th grade, as a former educator, I know that they're not getting what they should. This year alone, we have discussed lowering teacher salaries, cutting fundamental positions in our earliest grades, and now a rapid fire hiring of a superintendent who is less than qualified to run our beloved school district. My essential concern at this time is regarding the qualifications, background, and leadership capabilities of the candidates you guys have looked at for superintendent. A superintendent plays a crucial role in shaping the education environment and ensuring that the successes of the students, making this a significant decision for any school district. This decision affects everyone in our community, and I am puzzled how you, as a school board, have vetted this candidate knowing his ethical and legal issues. There was a panel to discuss what the community was looking for in a superintendent and also what the goals and needs of the school were, both short-term and long-term. Yes, we are in need of a superintendent, but that does not mean that we need to rush in and hire someone that does not fit the vision and goals set by our school and this community. Your goals and vision for superintendent in the school should be aligned with the community that elected you. I understand that we need to manage a budget and that there is a deficit, but hiring a superintendent with a pay raise while you cut salaries and positions elsewhere is insulting, and it is a disgrace. A community is to look to the school board for leadership in forming a better school district. Please do not take away the quality of education for our children and devalue our community by making poor decisions. Take the first step, showing our community and our children that you're not seeking a quick fix, which will lead to more problems, and take the time to find a candidate that can help our district be successful. The last thing I would like to address is really I would love for us to bring back the ability for our teachers that don't live in the district to address the board. A community thrives and grows when the members that work and live there express their opinions and work together to get to the common goal, which is educating our children in this great learning environment. Just because they don't agree does not mean that their voices should be silenced. Thank you.
Reputation is arguably a school district's most valuable intangible asset. It's what drives the local real estate market, enrollment in public schools versus private or charter options, and attracts talented employees in the form of teachers, coaches, and other professionals. I think it was clear to all of you, to everyone, even to the person himself, that the superintendent, that candidate that you were going to vote on to hire does not have a reputation that is synonymous with anything that CV stands for. And I too am very disheartened and concerned that that's what you thought our school deserved, and you couldn't find anyone better. We've probably all, no matter how long you've lived here, we've probably all experienced what a small world Southwestern PA is, Pittsburgh is. Everyone knows everyone. So many concerned community members outside of CV School District helped to inform us of what was happening and the history of a person that you whoever was going to vote yes, and whoever interviewed this person decided that he was the person. Up until the choice of putting up the superintendent as a candidate, I did and really was ready to say that I believe every single one of you sitting up there really cared about the school district and the children in it. I'm really not sure I can actually say I believe that now. I hope somewhere deep down inside your bodies that you actually do care, but I would like to see some decision making and actions that align with that. I don't believe that there are inherently bad humans. I don't think any of you are bad humans, but we all have flaws. And when not addressed, those flaws can influence and grow into very unethical decision making and actions that completely lack integrity, and they can create significant and horrible impacts that ripple out beyond that.
Thank you.
My name is Stephanie Van Balen. I live at 1243 Trailside Drive in Collier. I'm a Collier resident and a mother of 4. My 2 daughters are currently enrolled in Chartiers Valley, and I have 2 young boys that will be enrolled very shortly. So I have a vested interest in the continued search for a superintendent of this school district. In addition to being a mom, I'm also an educator, so I have a unique understanding of the role that a superintendent plays. The superintendent sets the vision for a school district and uses policy and personnel to support that vision. So as a mom and an educator, I ask you that when you consider a superintendent, you consider the vision they plan to implement. And if children are not at the heart of that vision, then they do not have a place here at Chartiers Valley. Our children should not be treated like line items on a budget, but should be afforded a well-rounded educational experience, supported by our high-quality staff, with state-of-the-art technology and culturally diverse programs. That's the kind of vision that we expect of Chartiers Valley. So tonight I'm here to ask you to remove your sense of urgency and remind you of your sense of duty and the seriousness of electing a superintendent whose vision will have lasting effects on hundreds of children, including my own. As an elected official, isn't it your duty to ensure that all potential candidates are considered before rushing to select one? And isn't it your duty to listen to your constituents, those who elected you in good faith, and really hear their valid concerns for the future of our school district? I hope you hear us loud and clear, and you continue to hear us echoing in your thoughts as you continue your search for the superintendent. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so fiduciary duties. Let's go back. Duty of care, duty of loyalty. So the question I have for you all is, what are you going to do different? I mean, you still have my time to just let that hang for a minute. What are you going to do different? So you have search consultant. I would too, and we did every time we went to search for the superintendent. Tom's terrific. There's nothing wrong with Tom. But he can't do it on his own. So when we had the task force and there was a rush to install the superintendent of Carlington, This community came together just like this. The call went out, everybody showed up. And we said no, just like this community said no. And we forced an open and transparent process. And I think the process you all used was okay, but I go back to duty of care and duty of loyalty. So a couple of things as it relates to that. When the search consultant came in, if you don't go after people to bring into the process, all you will get are the people who have no other choice. So we, as parents, called superintendents, assistant superintendents, and business managers and educators all over the region and brought them into our process. That's how Brian White got here. So don't leave it to fate. Don't leave it to who thinks that this is a better gig than what they have now. Go out and find the best. Respect your duties. On duty of care and duty of loyalty, you can't share confidential information and you can't meet with people privately. It's unacceptable. On the next superintendent, we don't need a business manager. We have one and she's fantastic. We need somebody who knows how to educate students. And in the 50 seconds I have left, 3 minutes just is not even. As most of you know, I've kept track of the performance of this district over almost 20 years. I know exactly how we perform, and right now it's the worst that we've ever performed in the history of the track. For those of you parents out there, I lay it squarely on your shoulders. We don't have a problem with good teachers, we don't have a problem with good administrators, we have a problem of low expectations. And if we don't change low expectations, we cannot expect a different result. So if you want to start the kind of process we started, I'm happy to meet with anybody for coffee and tell you how we did it. But it took an alignment of interests. The board, the parents, the community, the teachers, the administrators. It took full alignment. Ms. Hall, with all due respect, you and I don't know each other, but I will finish.
Well, you're 3 minutes inside.
Let her finish.
You don't know each other, but I will finish. And the longer you and I spar, the longer it's going to take for me to finish.
You have to maintain good order.
I am almost.
You are.
All right. I'll let you finish.
It took full alignment of everybody's interests. If you can do that, you can make change. We made a lot of change and we made a lot of progress. I'm very sad to see that my children were part of the progress. Your children may not be. You have to take control. It has to matter to you. And there are a lot of people in our community working 2 and 3 and 4 jobs. They cannot do it. We have to be resilient enough to do it on behalf of everybody. So take the challenge, find the right group of people, build a task force, raise a PAC, put some goals in place, meet with these guys. You don't run for school board because you don't like people, because you don't want to be involved in your community. You run for school board because you do. Now, we have to be aligned on what we're trying to accomplish together, otherwise it just won't work. Thank you.